hello and saying hi to Polly. How's the volume on this? Is it too loud for anyone? Is it reaching the back of the room?
What?
Perfect. There's always one. Thank you. We'll crank them up. I have a pretty loud voice even without a microphone, so I'm sure we're booming across the room. Thanks for coming, everybody. This is a very informal event, and it's a celebration of life in the truest sense of the word. It's Luigi's birthday, so he turning 79 years old today, which is sort of why the significance of picking the date today. So thank you everybody for coming to celebrate the life and birthday of Luigi. It is informal. He's had a funeral already back east. It was Catholic, there was Mass, it was formal. We've done all that. We're here today just to laugh and smile like Luigi and have a great time. And hopefully tell some stories, and that'll come a bit later. The etched wine glasses that you see on the table, those are to take home with you. They're a beautiful keepsake item that Polly had made for tonight, so please remember to take that with you. And speaking of wine glasses, there's an open bar. Help yourself. Luigi loved to celebrate life in its liquid form, and so we all hope to join in that as well. If you've probably all seen the sign for the bathrooms, I believe there is a smoking room here somewhere as well. I'm not too sure where, but if you can't make it through the evening without one, there is something available close by. Also, there was an interesting little display here on the table that you might be wondering what it is. It is bread, salt, and water. Now that is very meaningful to Polly, who was raised as a Doukhobor. And in that particular religion, and especially during a prayer service, bread, salt, and water were chosen as the material objects to be placed on the table because as objects representing the basic staff of life, they were the simplest symbols to reflect the Doukhobor life concept. If Polly wants to elaborate on that or sing something more meaningful, I will invite her up to do so later. We do have a few out-of-town guests that we wanted to welcome tonight. Obviously, we welcome everybody, but some people drove a little farther or flew a little farther than others. Tanya, Polly's daughter, and Chris, her husband. They're here from Fort McMurray, and with their children, Leah, Jared, Magdalene, Claire, Marcus, Joel, Stephen, Ethan, and Julia. And they also have a daughter, Phoebe, who's here from Edmonton. We have Ron Grieveson from Castlegar and Ron Hamilton from Edmonton. So some people went to a lot of effort to be here today to support Polly and celebrate Luigi, so thank you for your efforts. But thank you for everyone that drove in rush hour traffic. That's no peach either. I'm going to go straight into, we were planning on sort of doing some welcoming remarks and then having a bit of a break and then going into dinner. But everyone, got here so early that we've all been mingling and conversing and chatting anyway. So we thought we'll just go right into to dinner. So I hope everyone's hungry. We've got quite a spread here. I wanted to touch on the significance of some of the menu items that have been chosen. German potato salad. This is one of Luigi's favorite dishes from his time living in Germany, and it's one that his first wife used to make for him quite often. Italian cold cuts and Italian meatballs. Well, kind of speaks for itself. I don't think I need to explain that one. We've got a barbecue salmon. Now, Polly made it, but it's actually Luigi's recipe and something that he was apparently quite famous for. We've got Italian tiramisu for dessert, apple pie, his absolute hands down favorite dessert, I have heard, and also figs, which were his favorite fruit. I'm gonna turn it over to Polly's son-in-law, Chris, to say grace, and then we invite everyone, once he's done, to help themselves to this beautiful spread out.
Thanks, Rebecca. A little bit of feedback there. It's better over here? Yeah. All right, we'll just pray. Lord, we thank you today for the company here assembled and the opportunity to remember and to celebrate the life of a man we all grew to know, to love and to appreciate, Father, a man with good humor, great congeniality, Father, and is dearly missed. We thank you for those that he served with. We thank you for the men and women that serve for overseas and have fought for and defended the freedom that we now enjoy to come together this way, to freely assemble, to pray, and to serve and worship a God. We give thanks, Father, for the food that we can now receive, for your blessing onto our bodies and health. We thank you for our time here assembled and the conversation and the memories shared. We give thanks in all these things. In your Son's name, the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. It's a frenzy. So maybe what we'll do is maybe start with the table closest to the food table. You guys are the lucky table. And then we'll just start from the back of the room and work forward as the line allows.
You're holding up the line, come on. Chop, chop. I realize how much I move my hands while I talk. Actually focusing and focusing on trying to ease my voice is going in and out. I can hear it. Then I'm losing my train of thought because I'm focusing on my hands. Come back with
I would never do it.
I'm very confident on the speaker. I forgot how much I use my hands when I talk.
Yeah.
Channeling my inner Italian.
No, I could tell you, like, you're not a seasoned
Mike
pro,
Older.
yeah. But I know that, like, I know most people apparently are not good at using it. So I wouldn't know any better. So,
They're at the hotel, but she's had enough of the car. Oh, we drove from Golden today.
Are the photos still with me or did they stop?
it might have stopped. Maybe it doesn't.
So maybe you need to start it every time? Oh, okay. Do you want me to fit that into the next time I talk, or just do a random shout out right now?
Shout out to the figs.
Shout out to the figs. Sorry, what was Angela's last name? Sorry, I'm not used to holding a mic. I keep going in and out a lot. I'll try and hold it steady. I'm trying to really focus on holding the mic still. I must be channeling the inner Italian to be able to do this when I yeah, just letting you
I'd say that's what I was thinking. So I take it off.
No, he just said, let me take this over here. Yeah, would you like to spend a weekend partying in a mansion on sitting in a vineyard?
So what was your job in the Navy? What was your trade?
I was thinking
You were a stoker, that's why you Those Navy guys You have this one? Well, this is the same picture, except I was on this course.
All right.
They're all growing up. It's all over.
Oh, I gotta take a breath. Can I see you? Can I see you? Can I see what you look? Hi, you are handsome. Are you married? I got some granddaughters I can marry on.
I am taking.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I'm sure they're beautiful enough that you'll find their own, right?
My wife,
Not there anymore. She joined, and then she quit. Both.
That habits are hard to break. deal with that all the time. They just found and I have to deal with it all the time. It's all my I work with it, try to get them through it. There was only 3 trips involved, and that was the Anglican and the people still you know, I never heard any stories about that doing harm.
City did Randy say Randy. You ran and then you can sort of like table Randy.
Please join us.
Hey there. Sylvia. Chris.
Rebecca.
Randy. He's got a
So there's so many others at the bar. Please feel free to go to help get something going. If you don't have wine glasses on the table or a keepsake item, so please take them with you. Holly have them made as a memento. And there is a smoking room here somewhere. I don't know where it is. Seems a lot shorter. I've made a few jokes. Some signature menu items. Okay. Salad, Luigi's favorite, like the salmon. Holly made the salmon tonight. It's Luigi's recipe. He was well known for. Italian cold cuts, Italian meatballs, kind of speaks for itself. Things up there. There's also a guest book here as well. So one thing you can sign in on foreign publishing. One of the front doors for fundraising. Yeah. Take that to the recount. You got it. Yeah. We both missed her, like we weren't even too sure what holding her.
I swore I was going to steal one, especially when I got some when I was young, I worked on equipment. Some upwards on it, it was helping get more power. Well, now I don't need more gas and more
And these are, this is like my good friend.
Good? Yep. Okay. Sit here all along. Gonna be okay?
Yeah. Yeah, so we did
She turned 22 in January. And she got secure my team card.
Please join us. Sit here. There's someone sitting there, so either chair. What's your name? Oh, what is it today? John. Rebecca, this is my son Christopher. And we had our family. That was it. Okay. 20 years, I guess. So,
That road is not very good up there. Better road.
$2 million, and you're not in a position to buy for 3 more years? I think so.
What do you call the son of meathead? Meathead, yes. Meathead.
You got a good deal. Yeah, I'll buy. No.
We're gonna go on to hotel just in case somebody's not
Yeah. And from out in Alberta place. I got sentenced to 11 years in one house. The chaplain there, he was a Baptist now.
He was born in Edmonton.
After he said,
All the time, right?
They have state ages.
security to go in there.
Oh, are you an electrician also? Oh, well, there you go. No doubt.
11 years later, went off and retired, and I retired. From Calgary, we drove from Calgary. Because I was in construction, and I could employ them and train them, and then they could go work. And other cities who were on their own. So that's what we did.
Well, I stopped.
You know, she would handle those men and women very well.
Right? And so we train about your hair.
Yeah, I saw some signs up somewhere for heat drugs.
We're gonna use you earlier. We're gonna get this thing going.
Live music, right? What kind of music do you do? What's your specialty? Wow, I probably wouldn't, but there's a lot to Is it an instrument from another country? Like, is it a song thing, or it's a the magazine? Yeah, I've heard of the magazine. Is it used in jazz at all? A jazz instrument?
Sure looks a little different here now, eh? than this, eh? People change, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you related to him?
No, I'm not. I'm just a video.
Oh yeah, okay. Just by chance, I thought.
This morning it was 9.1.
I'm on the clock. Better. I've never heard of it.
out there because, you know, like some notes you breathe out, some you breathe in, he's sliding all over the place, and he's doing things with his hands. Like, there's a lot going on with the
Yeah, not as common of an instrument. So many people play harmonica. It's a fun instrument. Listen to it.
I never saw that. Weirded out. Yeah, I went to that one first too.
It seemed like I came back. No.
Yeah, my Twitter was our partners was all
Her dials are quite a bit different.
He was in work in the line. They held the money from the door. He took the money he needed to go. He put the gold money.
If you'd like to actually sit together. This is my great niece, Marie Tate. And her husband, Jack. And this is my Angela. Let me get you some name cards. And when you have them, if you can sign the tracing that's for Legion at the front door. There's a guest register here as well that is what Polly's actually going to keep in the shop, the COVID tracing. Okay, and please help us out with how many please help us out. And Tate, no, sorry, Marie, Jane, okay, can I interrupt you for a minute? I need to introduce you to Marie. This is your second client or third client? She's my great niece. So what is that? Third cousin twice removed. Something like that. Marie is the casting director. Not direct. Well, sort of. I've seen you a little bit.
I hope everyone's enjoying their dinners. We've got a lovely spread out there, and there's still a ton of food left. So please, if you've finished your plate and you can squeeze in a bit more, go have some seconds, go have some thirds, help yourself. There's a ton of food still left there, so please don't be shy.
I would have taken it off. It's casual, but
I remember when you did it, but
And they were going to give them extra food.
And on my father's side, his dad was Scottish, right from Scotland, and my mother was from Germany, and they pioneered north of Lake Huron up in this near homesteaded out there. My dad was
Radar loop.
I did my 3 years in Sydney.
Oh.
Well, I was stationed there for
Well, they said they want to be around the stuff. And that's going to be the battle. You can see it.
I know that I had 4 daughters, and Ellen had 1. All right. And we had a son. And my son is the youngest. Never forgave me. My friend of his mother talked me into it. You know, we had some girls. I go pick her up by the door. Tell her against the door. Please, shut up.
Sorry, the white loss is also a keepsake item. So please take it home with you. Probably have them made some of it.
You're not a mother.
I could still use it. Yeah, take home a dirty white loss, that's all.
All my other ones are like sharing. Water out of the water. We don't have water till that's let you know. Yeah. I expected that I would kind of grow further, but then once I hit the limit of what I need, like all I need is just a mug to drink out of. Like I only need one for myself, but I haven't had anybody coming over since COVID, and so I've just been like, you know, who needs more for now? You know, I eventually got plates, which was good. Started with this bowl. Yeah. I just had whatever I got, you know.
All over northern very well. They're doing a 37 years. So they phoned my daughter and said, her youngest daughter was 31 years old. I told her she had a 1 hour pregnancy. She had an hour to make up her mind. And she did it.
I'm an account manager at a tech company. Yeah, technology company. Yeah, so yeah, just shorten it down to tech nowadays. Yeah, it's been good. Been there 2 years after I graduated from SMU, the physics program. And then I started there. It's been good during the pandemic because all I need is a computer and I can work anywhere. So I've been able to work from home, which makes it easy to not interact or see people. Well, I did know people when I used to go to the office. It feels like so long ago now, though. So, you know, so yeah, it has some benefits, it has the drawbacks of isolation as well. Was there anything going on during, I guess, last year with all the Legion was closed, all the yeah.
Bigger deal, like I've run into people, I'm like, I'm grateful for them, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like I'm snubbing like face or throwing a pair of sunglasses, it could be anybody.
Somebody walking down the street now and I squint. Do I know you? Is probably a better deal then than it would be now, okay? Nearby here.
This is last call for dinner. If you'd like some more food, please help yourself. There's still a ton of food out there, but it is last call. They will be coming around to take your plate away soon, so if you still want to eat, put some food on it.
trees do with
maple trees in front of my house. Technically on city property, but they usually drown fast. It's two of them, my hose reaches, and the third one is nowhere. So what a difference though. Like the one that just hit the water, it looks like it's autumn. All the leaves are red and brown, falling off, it's all sad and wilted, and then the other two are vibrant and green. I feel really bad that I didn't get that effort. Taproots go down, like how much water is really getting to those roots, but apparently quite a bit. I guess. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. How are you? I worked right through. I missed the interactions, obviously, like everyone else, but it wasn't that stuff. I think everybody got their people at once. They might be alone that much. To show play soccer and all the things it would do with a young adult. I'm happy to sit home and read a book. I don't really care, but I'm starting to just do it. It took a while, but you guys enjoy it. It's good for you. It's got tomato juice.
Right.
Never done any fishing before. That's something I work right now. I went to the west coast of the island. Over
Make a plate for yourself and get something to eat, or even if you don't feel it's appropriate to eat at the moment if you're busy, if you want to just put a plate aside of some snacks for later when you're done or something.
I really appreciate it, but I'll be okay.
All right, as long as you're sure.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it, but my wife wasn't with me. I know her wasn't. And now I kind of fish out of water right now. I'm very active.
Thank you, Elsa. No,
Because I was born in August, right?
And I'm a people person anyway. That helps.
Now, then I was in software, but that was 25 years ago.
25, yeah, I guess I'm that old.
Half my life.
My daughter.
To go to percentages here.
Take anything. So we can start. Yes. Okay, and we're gonna start bringing out.
My daughter
From Quebec to a nice French name like Sean.
My family is from Quebec.
Don't catch me doing this. A lot of family in Quebec. My first language is French. My dad moved on to Ontario. Apparently a lot of big forest fires there every year or two, and then they had so many years to cut the lumber because there was a bunch of mills popped up and jobs were frenzy. So my dad moved there and we were born and raised there.
Very French part then, like actually French people go there.
Half are French, half are English. Most
We
people
all got
are
along.
fully bilingual.
Yeah. No, I went the line down the middle of the town.
You had your spurts at school.
The French side, the English side.
No, most of you don't have it very well.
What you know.
Even during the separation years. I do remember going to school to Quebec and Ontario French. They were doing our part and I had 4 or 5 Americans. I remember trying to I remember pulling into a parking lot of the shop. The guy came out of the shop and beat me up to tell me so I got out and he stopped in his tracks and he looked at me and he said, "I speak French." So I sort of made it into a joke. I said, "Listen, man," I said, "French people hate me. English people hate me because I'm French, so everybody gets me." But it was if I would have just started speaking English instead, you would always get I'm not going to ask anything like that anymore, thank gosh.
Good evening again, everybody. If we could have everyone take their seats, we're going to return to the official program now that we've all had some dinner, and we're going to say a few words. So I'll just give everyone a minute to wrap up their conversations and take their seats, and we have a few words and some things we're going to share with the group. All right, well, thanks everyone for wrapping up your conversations. I appreciate that. We don't have a huge formal itinerary to what we're going through tonight. As we stated in the beginning, some of you weren't here when I said that, you know, this is not a formal event. It's very casual. Luigi had a Catholic funeral, Catholic mass, a very formal event back east. This is his West Coast celebration of life, and it is incredibly casual. As such, the eulogy is, I don't know, 45 seconds. It's pretty short. I'm going to say a few words about Luigi that Polly wanted me to share with you. My name's Rebecca, by the way, and I've been friends with Polly and Luigi for about 20 years. And it was my honor to be asked to MC this event. I talk a lot with my hands, and so I noticed on the first blurb that because I move my hands around a lot, the mic was moving back and forth from my mouth, so apologies for coming in and out. There is a guest book here if you haven't signed it yet tonight. Polly would love it if you'd leave a name and any remarks that you like. And when I was doing the menu, I did regretfully, I was remiss. I was also to mention that the figs that were brought this evening were from Angela Minetta from Burnaby. And thank you, Angela, that was a beautiful touch. Luigi, father, husband, brother, friend, many things to many people. We're here today to celebrate his life, 1942 to 2021. We know him as Luigi, but his Italian family called him Gino. I did not know that till last week. Born in Italy, he came to Canada as a youth with his parents and siblings. The family lived in Niagara Falls and later moved to Toronto. As more family came out from Italy, one of his big and proudest responsibilities was to help them assimilate into the Canadian culture, further their English, and help them navigate the city looking for jobs. He served in the military. He completed 2 tours in Germany. He returned to Canada with his first wife. He worked in construction and began his apprenticeship as an electrician. And I think that's what most of us knew him as an electrician. He completed his designation of journeyman, and eventually he started DC Electric. Those who know him well know that it wasn't just a job. He was very passionate about what he did, and it was almost even a hobby at some points. He loved his occupation, and Polly feels that was because of the constant opportunity to meet people. In 1993, he married Polly and moved to Abbotsford, BC. They were married for 27 years. To know Luigi was to love him, and I'm sure everyone in this room holds fond memories. He made friends quickly and easily, and he loved them all. He was always eager and willing to help anybody. One of the constant themes in this room tonight, as we've spoken of Luigi, is how he was always willing to lend a hand. Many of his friends considered him a brother. Always kind, always a classic gentleman. Most of all, Luigi was always smiling and always laughing. So let's hold that thought tonight and smile and laugh as we remember him. There is a graveside service tomorrow at 9 a.m. at Musselwhite Cemetery. If anyone wishes to attend, we can get you more information. I'm going to turn the mic over to Chris again, and he has a number of notes that have been sent in, condolences, commemorative words that he's going to share with everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. I'm going to stand here. There seems to be maybe
Feedback.
a little bit less feedback as I move to the corner. Is that a little better? So I've got a few notes that have come in, and emails and notes that Polly's printed off. And first, maybe what I'll do is I'll introduce myself. My name is Chris Wrights. I'm Polly's and Luigi's son-in-law, married to Polly's daughter Tanya. And one of the things that really struck us very quickly and is noteworthy with Luigi is that that he was known to our grandchildren, or to his grandchildren as Nono. And even though we weren't, blood relatives of Luigi, he welcomed us into the family, immediately and instantly with those great, big, huge, large, massive, thick hands. And was always, as everybody here probably knows him better than even we do, with open and loving arms. And so, bring greetings on behalf of our family and also my parents. I know that Polly and Luigi, when they came up, it was nice to have a bit of a respite. Family's great, but it's nice to have somewhere to visit. And my parents, Frank and Barb, always welcomed the visits with Paul and Luigi, the opportunity to stay and visit and have wine and cards and things in the evening. So there's some notes, and I see Ron's here, but I've got an email from Nadia Safanoff, Polly's niece. It says, sorry she cannot be here today to say these words in person. Uncle Luigi meant a lot to me and my family, my husband Ron, my dad Fred, Polly's brother who passed away, predeceased Luigi, my mom Lorna, brother Jim, and his wife Shauna. My memories of Luigi are all happy ones. When we would visit, he always greeted us with a smiling face, a sincerely welcoming manner, and was consistently hospitable throughout our stay. He was kind, generous, patient, understanding, and so selfless. My respect runs deep for Luigi. He will not soon be forgotten and is deeply missed. I'll always remember when Ron and I bought our first home in 2000, how Luigi and Polly drove all day to Castlegar just to give us a hand. Luigi helped to rewire our new house to our new to us older home. We were and still are so very thankful for Luigi's help in updating our home to ensure our safety. He was excellent at his craft, and I know of many family, friends, and neighbors who benefited from his talents, as he would, without hesitation, volunteer his expertise and help without ever expecting anything in return. That's from Nadia Safanoff. There are a number of greetings that came in and are posted on Polly's Facebook page, and I know many of us have seen the announcement for tonight. I won't read them all in detail, but just some thanks to John Vogler, to Evgeny Oksanachenko, to Noreen Kabatov, sorry, my notes are big here, Carrie Sofanoff, Rosemary Di Clemente, Linda Guthrie, Bruce Gaujon, Josie Framer, Beatrice DeRocco, cousin from Belgium, Shannon, Miracle McDuffie, a couple that were a great help, I think, to Polly in Belleville with arrangements over the last several years, Rebecca Aram, AJ Butcher, Vivian Anderson, Jonathan Kalmakoff, Mara Manella, and others. So there's many, even from Courtney, a nurse that had the pleasure of caring for Luigi in the Bayshore. She said, I had the pleasure to care for Luigi a few years back while I worked for Bayshore. He was a loving man who loved his family and talked of them so proudly. He loved his wife and was always such a joy to be around. Now I've saved this one for last. This one I may have a difficult time getting through again. Many of you that I didn't have the privilege of serving. I know that many of you knew Luigi serving with him or like him, both at home and abroad. And these are thoughts from one that served with him, Edward Ted Solito. And upon hearing of Luigi's passing, Ted usually picks up pen to paper or puts his fingers to keyboard and types his thoughts. And Ted penned this: moving on. I received word this week that one of my buddies from my years in the armed forces had passed away. This immediately invaded my Thursday thought process and needed my attention. There were and are many memorable characters and friends from my military career nestled in a comfortable spot in my memory banks. I am finding that the longer I live, the more I have to invade that spot to say goodbye to yet another one. But this one was more special than most. He and his wife lived on the same street as Marlies and I in the small town of Verl, Germany, while I was posted there with the military from 1962 to 1965. The four of us became very close as we visited, played cards, and socialized with each other. He was the best man at our wedding, and we remained close friends during the remainder of my time in Germany. When I returned to Canada, I stayed in the services and made it my career, but my friend chose to leave the service and return to his home in Toronto. We slowly lost contact with each other and got on with our lives. I had no idea she was doing it, but when our 25th wedding anniversary came, Marlise tried to find him to invite him to be a surprise guest, but she failed to track him down, and once again we carried on with our lives. Years later, he was successful in tracking me down, and I received very much welcomed and very long phone call. The connection was renewed. His wife had passed on, his children were all grown and had lives of their own, and he had remarried and was living in the same town in BC as my daughter. Our friendship was renewed, and we visited each other often. When our 50th wedding anniversary came, we invited him and his wife as our guests of honor. The early signs of Alzheimer's were beginning to show at that time, and his wife periodically sent updates of his ever-worsening condition. It was unknown to me then, but that 50th anniversary celebration would be the last time I would see him. So this news opened up the floodgates of memories I have for this wonderful man. After I pay the proper respect to him, I will move on with my life knowing that it was, and will always be, a whole lot richer having had him as a friend. Edward Stiletto.
Wow, that was very moving, and what an elegant writer, the sender of that message. That was just beautiful. I'm just sitting down because I'm a bit overcome at the moment. That was a lot. At this point, Polly and I would like to invite others up to speak. That it might just be a few words. You might have a tribute. You might have a funny story, or a funny memory, or a joke, or something that you want to share with the room, and we'd love to invite you up to do that at this time. Gee, who's going to be first? No pressure. Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome. Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan. I am Polly's tenant. I did have a more appropriate shirt to wear, coming straight from work. Some water got spilled on it, and so Polly has very kindly accessorized me. I was going to compliment her on how nice it looked. Oh, it's okay. I'm loud enough.
Sure.
I don't mind speaking like this.
Interesting.
I'm speaking like this.
Can everyone hear him fine? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Anyway, I was going to compliment her on how nice it looked on her, but now I get to wear it. Louder. Okay. I've lived under their roof for about 3 years now. It was a very generous gesture. I coached at Twisters Gymnastics, and Polly and Luigi have been a part of that community since about the beginning, from when Mitt started his program there with Polly's son Shane. I first met them when Mitz was stepping down from his head coaching position. We had a retirement party. He said he's stepping down because he's still not done coaching. And when I met them, when I saw them, they sat at the very front. Polly recorded the whole thing. You could tell that they were people that were really engaged in the communities that they were a part of. And having heard what just a few people have said, that Luigi was always a man that was smiling and happy, laughing and helping, is consistent with what I observed. By the time that I moved into the house, Luigi's... Try it again? Sure. Hello? No. That's fine, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, that's okay.
Batteries.
Yeah.
Just changed the batteries. I thought that was the problem, but
Maybe it's a
it
decent
appears
viewer.
to be
Right.
something else. Sorry.
That's okay. Luigi's dementia had become more onset, but while he was still at the home, he'd always be outside picking up the leaves, and if I was coming and going, he'd always say hi and want to joke with me, and he did have that twinkle in his eye, and even down to the lines in a person's face. You can tell if that person had been a joyful person, and the look in his eyes and the way his face was, and all these stories confirm that he was. And I think when someone is stripped of what the world sort of makes them, it reveals who they are at the core. But the thing was, with Luigi, all those things, all those positive things remained, and that was proof that he had kept so in touch throughout his whole life all the things that we know as human beings that are foundationally good. And that is how his life must have began, and how it remained until the end. So I'm very lucky to have known him and been welcomed into his home. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you. An incredibly moving sentiment. I welcome any other speakers who'd like to come up and say something. It doesn't have to be as perfect as that. Even if you have a short couple of sentences, or if you have something prepared, we'd love to hear you. And I turn the mic over to Bob.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Bob. And I met Luigi back in 1965. We were serving together in Germany. We were in the same unit. And in that unit, they selected young men to become leaders in the unit. So Luigi and I just happened to get on the same course as a junior leaders course. So we were selected to go to another base to do this course. And on this course, I'm French descendant. I speak French, and Luigi's Italian, but we both wound up on a French part of this course. So Luigi at that time could not speak a word of French. So we were there going through the process of becoming a leader. Eventually, at the end of this course, you get ranked at where you are in this course. So Luigi wound up with, all through his hard work and not being able to speak French at all within the French unit, but did all the work and all the jobs and everything else. This course is a course that teaches you supposedly how to lead and how to get tasks done. So Luigi, with all his hard work and everything else, became the #1 candidate on this course. So we were very proud of Luigi, and the unit was very proud of him to become the #1 course. So, and I haven't seen after that course, we lost touch with one another. But in the military, you always lose touch with one another. You'll wind up meeting him someplace else, another time or another place. So the next time I met Luigi was back here in '91, when we used to have a retired sappers parties here in Chilliwack. And we always got together. It was always the same thing. It was just like yesterday we talked to him. And so we still reminisce old times and everything else. And Luigi was a great guy. I had a lot of fun with him. We had a lot of chats together. And it was just, not miss him. We miss him now. That's who we are. We move along and things like that. And I do miss him. So again, thanks to Luigi, my life was part of it, his life also. All right, thank you very much.
Wow, 1965. I wasn't born yet. And I'm one of the older people in the room. Excellent. We have someone else coming up to share a memory. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Wayne.
You don't have to use it, no. If everyone can hear you.
I hope they do.
If they can't, I'm making you use it.
Okay. Anyways, good evening. My name is Wayne Marshall. I first met Luigi not as early as Bob, because I think Bob's the same age as Luigi, he informed me tonight coming up. And I'm 4 years younger. So I met Luigi in 1967, I believe, when he came back to Germany on his second tour. And him and I were in the same troop. So that was in 3 Troop, 4 Field Squadron in Werl, Germany. When I arrived there, one of the things that the fellas enjoyed the most was going on adventure training. So it was something that the military wanted you to do, go and have fun, but they always had a point in having you do it. Whether you marched for a long time. The first adventure training I went on, we went on a river and in 18-man assault boats, and we lived on the river like a bunch of river rats for about 5 days. But this year that I remember the first time that I met Luigi, we were to walk from one town to another. And Luigi and some of the older fellas that led us young fellas astray, I was only 19 or 20 at the time, decided, you know, this walking is not very much fun. So we all decided that we're going to get on a bus and go to our next destination, get a hotel room, and have a party. So we did this for about 4 days until the adventure training ended, and our troop sergeant found out what we had done. And he didn't like that. So the next year, when we went on adventure training, he said, well, you guys are going to go for the marching again, but this time you're going to provide a recce report for every little bridge you go over or every little culvert. And so a recce report is used, you have to measure it up, so if the time ever comes, one of our jobs would be, say, a rapid route denial, we would have to blow these things up, and you had to do certain calculations. So he thought he had us, but we knew that this troop sergeant was going to check all our figures and that. So again, we just devised a plan, back on the buses, and we had to have a keen eye to spot a culvert or a bridge you go over, and we fictitiously made up a bunch of figures. And we again had another nice week of partying. But the one thing I remember about Luigi is that he was a true friend. He loved everyone, and he had such a warm laugh, and like my predecessor that was up here, I also lost contact with Luigi over the years. And it wasn't until I retired in 1996 and moved to Chilliwack and attended one of the retired sapper reunions that I was reunited with Luigi. And I'm going to miss him dearly. So thank you very much.
I don't even have to beg more people. This is great.
Do you want the mic or do you want to?
No, I think my voice is loud enough.
Okay. When they don't have the mic, can you hear them in the back? Good? Okay.
That's good. Well, I've known Luigi for a long time because we were in the same troop in Germany the first time and the second time around. And in fact, the first junior he was on before he went on the other one, the French one, was conducted by myself and Harry Boyle. And I remember that he and another chap, we used to mark their boots with a grease pencil. And he wondered why we were getting them all the time. Was the fact is that he wasn't doing his shoes, but he didn't know we had marked it. And they were just kind of buffing it a little bit. The grease pencil mark was still there. But it was still quite character. He was actually my best friend. And he came from Belleville, when he got out, he lived in Belleville, Ontario, and that's where my first wife is from. So I made contact with him there and stuff like that. I remember him doing some little transaction on his house. He relifted the roof or something on it. And when I was home and leave, I saw him doing that, and there was quite a little engineering feat too, because it could have been dangerous. But I miss him. And Alzheimer is really a bad disease because I lost my sister. And I lost my friend before he was gone. Because the last time I saw him, he didn't recognize me. Thank you.
Maybe we don't need the mic. We seem to be doing better without it. I can't tell, obviously, when I'm talking into it, I can't tell what it sounds like, but it must sound horrible because no one wants to use it. So anyone else that would like to come up and speak? Thank you, Bill. Do you want the mic?
No.
All right. Speak with power.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bill Stone. I was serving in the United Nations Emergency Force in Egypt in 1962, and I came back to 3 Field Squadron here in Chilliwack, and I was a section commander, rank of corporal. Luigi Di Clemente took his training. He joined the forces in 1961, and when he finished his recruits course at the school, he got posted to our unit, and he got posted into my section, and that was in 1962, about the middle of the year. And he eventually qualified as a driver, and he was our section driver. And I'm not sure if you know what happens for the unit every summer. They go from Chilliwack to Wainwright in Alberta, and of course in those days we drove our trucks all there, and it took something like 4 days, and there I was in the cab of the Deuce and a Half. A Deuce and a Half is a 2.5 ton truck. I'm on the right side of the cab, and Luigi's on the left side. And we got to be fairly close. That particular summer, the brigade did a kind of a re-entry thing out of Camp Wainwright through the northern part of Alberta into Saskatchewan, and then back into Wainwright from the south part. And Wainwright's got a north side and a south side. And we were in a brigade convoy. The brigade's a unit of some 5,000 men and women, and all the vehicles. And it took us a long time of stop and go. Luigi was very, very friendly, as all of my comrades have said, and really, really hard worker. And we stayed in the section for a while. In 1964, both of us got posted to Germany. Unfortunately, we didn't get posted to the same troop. And I was went into 3 troop, and I'm not sure exactly where Luigi went, but we kind of lost contact. And as our other fellows have said, eventually he came back to us at the Retired Sappers Reunion. And of course, I happen to be on the committee of the Retired Sappers Reunion, and I'm the treasurer, and I keep track of all the records along with another fellow who lives here. So I was really pleased to see Luigi back again. And of course, that's when we met his good wife, Polly, and they attended a lot of the reunions up until Luigi got really sick. And then of course they had to stop. Polly's still on our Retired Sappers Reunion list, and every year she'll get notifications, and I'm sure she will come and enjoy the comradeship with all of our wives and people that got to know her and Luigi at the reunions in Chilliwack here. I was quite involved with preparing what we have the CMEA, which stands for the Canadian Military Engineers Association. And we have a website where we have CMEA obits. And the fellow that controls that in Ottawa, his name is Ken Holmes. And Ken and I have almost a continual daily thing of obituary stuff. So when Luigi passed away, of course, trying to get his military record and where he served was a little bit difficult. However, we managed to get something together, and Luigi served in 3 different units in our branch. He served here in 3 Field Squadron, which is now called 1 Combat Engineer Regiment. That was in Chilliwack. And then when they closed the base, that unit moved to Edmonton. He served in 4 Field Squadron in Germany twice. I was there at the same time he was the first time. He then went to 1 Field Squadron in Petawawa in Ontario. Petawawa is north of Ottawa. He then went back to Germany for another tour there. And over his career, he spent 11 years in the Canadian Military Engineers.
9.
Yeah, Paulie says 9, and I did a considerable amount of research today, and I was trying to fix some dates. And one thing my 81-year-old memory doesn't provide me with now is all of the certain things. And the dates add up, for me, up to 11 years. But anyway, Polly, you and I can sort that out later. So thank you very much for coming. I'm really pleased. I don't know who all of you are and who the family is, but I'm really pleased to be here tonight, and thank you very much for inviting me. All the best.
9, 11, why don't we just call it 10? Meet in the middle. We'll whip out a calculator. Would anyone else like to share a story of Luigi, or even just say how they met him, or a joke or a funny anecdote? Okay.
No, I would like to say something.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, Ron. Do you want the microphone?
Yeah, I think I'm better. Yes.
You got it.
I have a tendency to go high and low.
There you go.
Hello, everybody. I'm a stranger to most people in this room except for Polly. And I come here from Edmonton to kind of represent part of Polly's family. I've known her since she was a very young woman. About 1975, I believe I met Polly. I was married to her cousin, Helen. uh, from Nelson, BC. That's where I met her. And I've only met Luigi probably 5, maybe 6 times during their marriage. But what I would like to comment on is the change that I saw in Polly. Having known her all those years, and her and Helen were first cousins, and they were very close in the family, and whenever Polly came to visit her family that's up in Fort McMurray, she brought Luigi with her, and I got to know Luigi a little bit, and I always seen him as a cheerful and laughing and enjoyable, pleasant type person. But what really stood out is the change that I saw in Polly and how happy she was. And it takes a good woman to make a happy man, and it takes a good man to make a happy wife. And they were well suited together, always full of life, always full of fun. And so that's all I have to say. It's just, oh, one other thing. My wife Helen, like Polly, my wife's mother was Russian, and her dad was Russian, but she wasn't in a hurry, and neither is Polly.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Anyone else? It can be short and sweet. It can be how you know him. Thank you. Appreciate that. And are you a mic person? Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Marie. I'm Polly's great niece. And I met Polly and Luigi sort of later in my life. And we both lived here in Abbotsford. And just a couple of quick things that I wanted to mention. You know, I think both of them are amazingly sweet, and Luigi is very, you know, kind and generous, and I actually have and will always remember him from my, he gave me a fig tree several years ago, and it was actually quite small when I got it at first, and I'm not a green thumb, so I wasn't even sure if it would last, but it's now quite large. It's probably about, well, it's probably about as big as me now and very wide, probably about 10 feet wide at least. So I'll always have figs from my Uncle Luigi. And also, I'm not the only one that sees how sweet and loving this couple is. I was able to book them on one of my film sets a couple of years ago. And I book a lot of people on the film sets. I've been working in film for about 30 years. And they were doing a grad ceremony scene, and there was probably about 80 people in the whole scene. And in my 30 years, I've never had a director email me to tell me that he didn't know that they were related, but he told me that these 2 background performers were the sweetest couple that he's ever seen. And he wanted to email me and let me know that. And directors are pretty busy, and you know, they have a pretty chaotic job, so for him to mention that was a pretty interesting thing. I'll miss him, and I love you both.
Thank you, Marie. That was beautiful. It's beautiful. Anyone else? How you met? Your thoughts? I mean, the common themes tonight seem to be laughing, smiling, kind, generous, thoughtful gentlemen. I can't imagine anyone has any mean stories of Luigi. was he ever mean? I don't think so.
I was going to meet you halfway, but this got really loud. Do you want the mic?
Well,
oh, sure.
I'm a little nervous here. I'm going to just share something. My dad is right over there, and Luigi was my dad's best friend, and probably Pierce too. So I don't know where my dad met Luigi, but he was my dad's electrician. My dad's a construction worker. He likes to build houses, even up until he was 83. And he met Luigi, I think 25 years ago, something like that. And I always knew him as Luigi the electrician. I did not know his last name. But every time he came around, or I went to a job site, or saw my dad talk about Luigi, it was Luigi electrician. But I think they more or less planned on building houses, or planned on doing something together, just so they can get together and tell jokes and just visit and share and just develop their friendship. They were working together, they played together. These two old men playing together. But it was just so neat to see this man and my dad, and laugh, and Pierce, and even my brother too, all four of them, and just BSing around and just having fun as they're working. And like somebody was saying, that you were saying that his job was more like a hobby. And I think that's the same with my dad. Building was a hobby, and it was just a good excuse for these guys just to get together and have fun. And there was another story, was my mom's 80th birthday, and we had a surprise party for her, and we had all these ladies come, and we were talking, and we were just sharing about how you just love being with Luigi, and my aunt couldn't believe how you were so in love with Luigi. And you said, I've been married to him for 20 years at this time, and I'm still on my honeymoon. And it was just so neat to see that after so many years and still feel like you're on your honeymoon. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
That's beautiful too. See, I can bring the mic to you. You don't have to come stand up here at the front. You want the mic on?
No.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Hello, my name is Ralph DeCoste. I had 35 years in the engineers and never had the good fortune to serve any place with Luigi. I never met Polly or Luigi until I was registrar for the Royal Canadian Engineers, retired. And at that time, every time I looked at Luigi, he had a smile on his face. And every time I looked at Polly, I knew why he had a smile on his face. Because Polly made sure that Luigi always had a good time, and she made sure that she organized everything for him. So I think it was such a pleasure to meet Luigi and to meet Polly, and now I'll shut up and sit down.
Any other brave takers? Well, we can always come back to this if you change your mind and there's something you'd like to say. I think we're going to turn it over to dessert now. And so similar to last time, we're going to, is all the dessert out? Maybe I should check with the kitchen. I'm not sure if that's everything. But we've got apple pie, which was Luigi's absolute favorite dessert. There is as well tiramisu. And it looks like maybe some other things are there, like fruit. So I'll just check that that's on the way, and then please help yourselves to dessert. Thank you.
I like fruit, I can eat that. Apple pie,
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We're a month apart. When you're married or you grew up with
I saw my friends. He told her that she was married.
This is my ministry card. And my church is on the back.
The French way. This is a G. Yeah, not the same, but.
Two French ways too, because
Right.
like one of my friends there doesn't matter how much time they read the whole French, but yeah, he always calls him John.
Yeah, that goes both ways. Yeah, just depends on who the person's met before and what they have in their head. I don't think either a John or Gilbert. So you have two first names and two last names, right? Because it could be yeah, that's more fun too then, because you get, you know, some places list, yeah, some places list the last name first, and yeah, you'll get all that.
My middle name is Luke. Everybody can say Jean-Luc.
I can say Jean-Luc.
Right, yeah, people would look up L-U-C, right? Yeah, so then people would pick up probably a bit more, yeah.
And then I'm not used to it, so people would say, hey Jean-Luc, and I can walk in my name.
Right.
I never wear that.
And they're like, oh, like, they just get flustered. But as soon as I say, like, Jean-Luc, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm very
But you haven't got onto that idea yet?
People should like to see people scoring.
Yeah, more fun that way, right? What do you need to make it easy on them for? It's their problem to figure it out. Yeah. You guys are out here?
Yeah.
I remember you have a auto. Yeah. How long of a drive is that for you?
20 minutes. We live like it was during the war. So it's 2 minutes to the freeway, and then my school's right off there. So we can go usually less than
Here in Chilliwack. I came to Chilliwack and there was
I'm always against traffic.
I go to Chilliwack in the morning.
Yeah.
If I want to go to Chilliwack,
When I did my, when I was district manager, everywhere. My last job, I was in charge of 13, 14 stores. So I went from Victoria to Kamloops and part of the reason I mean, I was going so much Halloween, 2 weeks a month.
He raised me as a for right me.
13 years we're together. Never unpacked the suitcase. It was always you get home, you sort of, you know, there's still some clean clothes that keep that in. You wash it, you put it back in, and I didn't unpack it. And then I went to Victoria. I took Maria 100 miles straight on Young Street. They went to Young Street. I went to work and they went to when I was raised there, there was no road in the house.
Yeah, you got back, you went right back out. Yeah.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's what I hear, right? Like once it's work, it's not the same. Most people's idea of travel is a vacation to get away from, but that's what you're doing all the time.
I actually do. The U.S. is
That sounds fun, right? Like Hawaii, what could be wrong with that?
It's the worst that ever. Everybody's on
Yeah.
It's
all those boards because it's right outside.
You can see the beach all day.
Yeah.
Sorry for me.
Yeah, you get the weather. There's some benefits. I used to live in Maple Ridge. Here, saw the mission bridge. That just like a temporary thing right now. It's been going for a while. The traffic going the other way was even worse. Like, I saw it stretch so far back. It was like, oh, poor people trying to get home. It's going to take them like an hour just to go.
All it takes is
where I come from,
I think the majority of us have been in Canada. I know I can't get any further north than the West. You know the map of Canada, how it is like this? Northern Ireland at the top there, that's Ellesmere Island. I know there's been a lot of engineers, probably, I know all of us there, I know I was there. It's so far north, it seems like
video. Yeah, I don't know.
I know that she assembled bars, and then she gave them to someone to put into a video. It might be the
I know we still have sheep.
Oh, yeah.
When I went there in '75, we did the rehab. So they put 3 two-story bear blocks, new transmitter buildings, new office building, and a kitchen complex. I There's a lot of guys in the military that when they change the oil in the transformer, they have their hands right in the PCBs. And we used to spread it on the roads, keep the dust down. And now if they drop a little bit on the highway, they call it
But not everybody.
Not everyone's dead. Some of them are still kicking.
They tore down the EM station in Edmonton, and all the piping was around it. I didn't know that, and I tore it all off the piping, and it didn't bother me a bit.
You know, in our assault,
I love the military stories, because I didn't know him then. I was on the side of it. I was looking at the pictures and I'm like, I don't like this. Yeah, or like it's, you know, his family called him, you know, like 20 years, I just found that out this week. Yeah, seeing him as a young hot guy, it was like, Luigi?
Playing with
I worked on a bridge in Dumpster Highway, which runs between Dawson City and Newville, and we were putting in a really small bridge. So we had to look at it and go, no, so we put a culture down, steel, and we excavated it out, and we went down to the forms and put the concrete in. Well, the flies were so bad, they were we were over trying to buy steel to rebar, and they were all on the back. So we had a guy in our camp, his name was Bunny, and he looked after the camp, and he's the electrician, so he looked after the generator. And one of his duties was to spray our camps with pesticide, TBP. So we're down there working on this steel climate, and Bunny's up top with the sprayer. And we're down there. That was in 71.
I have a coat back there.
What was that stuff? Same thing. She's great.
We had one of those little cats that had a pump
and the PMQs are really right out there. One of our duties as engineers is to follow the PMQs. And they used to drive through the PMQs and the farms. And the kids used to run in. You know what?
I had a nanny instead. She was our nanny for 16 years. So I was a single parent, so she was with us she was like a softy mom, and I was like dad's mom. I was the disciplinarian. Soft touch. All the time. But probably also helped a lot taking care of his work, especially when she would go back to the Philippines or traveling. My son's memories of Polly on
shows on TV where they do renovations in their homes, and they find those little valve-by-valve asbestos tiles, and they go in and spray it, and they take it down and close the whole job site.
I backpack, I kayak, I cycle, various companies that are here. So there's two that is pretty safe outside, so that works well. I haven't come back to them. I remember the last time I saw them, I took concert. And those things are no slower to return. I usually just thank God it's summer. had too much speaking. Those two things don't always go hand in hand. I think they do. Yeah. Especially with videotapes and
when I was stationed in Moose Jaw, the U.S. military, they came up and they collected all the PCBs from the bases they had across the Doolittle bases. And we had a big count by they used to fly it in Moose Jaw. We would store it in there and then we would send a big transport.
I'll stay in your chair. No, you sit in your chair.
Hang on
Thank you.
Of course.
Off, and then it was a little uneven, so I kept going, and then eventually there wasn't much left. Yeah, it was pretty fast.
know what they do? They put like a biscuit down, a hard biscuit, and they dump coffee over top, and the coffee soaks in the biscuit, and that's favorite sauce.
I just noticed the first time. You want to say it now. And I give soft voice and give you like. I don't know where the mic is. God, thank you so much.
Hey guys.
Oh, it's homemade.
The lady of the hour.
Oh, even the crust is homemade. It's good. And whipped cream.
Hello. I don't know if any of you were like me, and I watched a lot of Netflix last year and part of this year. And one of those movies that I watched was this guy's wife died. And he got up to the front to speak. And you know what he did? He just stood there. He just stood there. And he looked at everybody. And that's kind of how I feel right now. What do I say? Other than thank you. Thank you to everybody that came. I don't know if I did the right thing. I've been through a mass. I've been through a viewing. I've been through a burial. I've been through a service already in Ontario. My daughter and Chris were gracious enough to join me, and I really appreciate that. These lovely girls, these lovely granddaughters of mine, look at the amazing job that they did of setting the place up. Give them a big hand. I have a friend of mine that is from a long time ago when our kids were in gymnastics together. It's Sharon's birthday today as well as Luigi's. Sharon, can you just stand up and say hi? That's Sharon. I don't know, you can sing happy birthday if you want, or not. She's shaking her head and she's saying no. Angela came from Burnaby. My niece's husband came all the way from Castlegar, one-day trip. He's turning around and he's going back. Ron is here from Edmonton. Tanya and my family are here from Fort McMurray. You guys that live way over there in Chilliwack, and I know you got a really long drive. I really appreciate you coming. I know Luigi always said, I'm just a simple guy. But you know that he looks just as good in a suit as he does in his electrician's clothes or as he did in his military uniform. He would have loved this, and he would have loved to have seen everybody. And Maria, I'm just so, I don't know what to say. I'm so happy that you're here. And I'm happy that you're able to connect with your family, because you probably have never met Tanya even before. Silvio is here, Bill is here, we met Bill at the Legion. Heather, who, I don't know how many of you know, but I matchmade them. Heather came all the way to Ontario to sing at Luigi's and my wedding. We got married in Ontario, and so Heather flew all the way out there, and she and our pianist did a duet at our wedding, which I really appreciate that. Jean, my little boy there, see that little boy over there with the beard? I used to nanny him at one time. Thank you, everybody. I don't know what else to say other than thanks, and I really appreciate it. And Angela, thank you for the figs. He did eat. Now, I don't know if you guys saw, but there's a picture up there where he's standing at the kitchen counter and he's eating figs. So. Mitsuko, Chiyoko, Julie, and special friend Herb. Herb, I was telling, who was I telling? I was telling his daughter that one day Herb was sitting at a kitchen table, and Herb and Luigi were, I don't know if it was the Sambuca or the red wine, no, or it was the rum. It was the Screech, right? From Nova Scotia or someplace. And Herb is great. He has a joke for every occasion, literally every occasion. By 4 o'clock in the morning, I noticed that he started to repeat. So you can imagine how long that took and how many jokes he had to go through the night. Anyway, guys, thank you, everybody. And Wendy did an amazing job with the food. Didn't she do a great job? Jonathan, you were great. I know you were reluctant and I know you were shy, but I really appreciate your words. I really do. I don't know what else to say, so I'm just going to say thank you all for coming. There's dessert, still lots of stuff. We've got the place till 1 o'clock in the morning if you should want to stay. The bar is still open, so do your thing, okay? Thanks a lot. Thank you again.
You're 25, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm probably smart doing your math. Up Luigi Di Clemente, and there's some waterfalls up there. So basically, we have a walk down and went hiking and came back. But it's such a foggy area. I know it's really buggy, but apparently I didn't keep enough on it. It wasn't waterproof or whatever the case was. Kayak? Oh, okay. Nice. I cycle KPR every summer. I go up and visit friends and we always do a session. I have an accident every year. I'm a horrible cyclist. Nobody wants to cycle with me anymore. No, this year I don't know what I did. I wiped out turning around and it's like I fell on laser line or something. I've been in the hospital and so on my knee. I've gone over the handlebars. I flew down in helmets and my water logged when it was frozen. I went over that. I got off the side of the trestle bridge. I've never had a kayaking accident that way. Everyone a couple of times. Okay, nice. You're just across the I can't remember his name, but he said, I lost the wall before I lost them. Yes, that's the way to
he was meant to, but they there's something wrong with his hearing. They take him over at the very end.
In the Army and got sent from here, Vancouver, somewhere in Alberta to do his basic training. And I the war was like wrapping up, or he was like said something about his hearing.
Well, yeah, because he used to say that when they used to work at the logging camps, they would like put each other in these barrels and roll them down the hill, yeah. And so he said, something happened to one of his eardrums or something hidden, in the end. I don't know if it's barrels or tires or something. They rolled down the stupid things went down there. Yeah. Also, whatever, drinking the shaving cream or something. Yeah. Aftershave, that was. Aftershave. I have that somewhere.
Sound and the pictures.
Yeah, it's rolled it quite a few times. I think most people have probably seen it. Yeah.
I mean, when
Oh, the videographer. Oh,
yeah, I think so. Okay. Yeah, cut the cord on Reese. Come on, Reese, can we cut the cord?
Yes, we can.